As was told, this is the fifth summit. I've been somehow skipping the first four, but she didn't leave me, and one day she reached my office, and then there was no choice for me except telling her that next time I had to be there. And in the meantime, I shifted my base from Gurgaon to Chandigarh. So last night I traveled, and this morning I came from Gurgaon. But thanks to odd even system of Delhi, traveling was much easier today. Many of the speakers I have known, may not have met personally, but Jan, for example, I know for 20 years. Others I have heard about, I have read about them. Each one is a distinguished speaker, an expert in the chosen fields. Even though I have been asked to speak on importance of cross-cultural issues in education, but let me take a couple of minutes reflecting on the background. For the last about 15-20 years, I have seen some drastic changes. Even though sometimes I feel that some of the issues have been talked about too much, and where reflection has been taken on that, where the need is to stop talking and start acting. We have lagged behind by many years now as far as the quality of education is concerned. I often reflect on what Indian higher education has been as the history is concerned. We have had a glorious past. If you talk about Nalanda and Takshila days, the whole world used to be attracted towards this country, and it was recognized as a center of excellence. I do not know when and how it happened that today we look up to the West and we are ranked one of the lowest in terms of quality of education. There's often talks at the government level, at the level of policymakers, industry, academia, that none of our universities are ranked very high in the international ranking. Some people even debate the concept of ranking. But certainly we can no more ignore the issues involved in quality. Often when you talk about these topics, you start looking at how and when things went wrong, what's the scenario today, and what we should be doing in the future. It's a logical sequence of these kind of talks. Because the time is less, and I have been asked to speak on a topic which is slightly different, even though I'll try to link them with the issues which are majorly being faced by education today. My views should be taken not as someone who has an outstanding research record, not someone who has studied in best of the institutions in the country or the world. Perhaps I don't have one to recount. My views should be taken as someone who has, of course, been a teacher, a student, sometimes an academic administrator, and if nothing else convinces you, take my views as a parent who has seen children passing through this stage. And if even that doesn't convince, take my views as a bystander and an onlooker who has been interested in education over the years. And then, of course, we can interact towards the end when we come to the end. I'll skip two parts, particularly the past and what went wrong. And when I have to summarize something long and short, I resort to poetry or the couplets. And I think I could choose one which best describes the situation of higher education in this country. This beautiful couplet reminds me of one of the famous poets, जुल्फ रातों सी है रंगत उजालों जैसी, मगर तबीयत है वही भूलने वालों जैसी, कभी उसकी आंखों को गौर से देखा है फराज, रात भर रोते हुए जागने वालों जैसी. When I look at Indian higher education, it has had a glorious past. It has been a beauty. It has been admired by all. But for the last few decades, something has happened that it is restless. It's been criticized. It's not liked. But it can be revived. I think we sitting here, we need to join our heads together and think what went wrong. Where are we responsible for this? Or we have only been criticizing what went wrong and nothing in terms of acting on this. There are many issues starting from the quality of infrastructure, the quality of faculty, the quality of students. But some very contradicting figures are before us. Today in our country we have about 750 universities, out of which 150 universities are the latest category of private universities. Then there are central, state, and the deemed university centers of excellence or centers of national importance. All taken together, we have about 750 universities. We have about 42,000 colleges in this country. About 32 million enrollment in higher education. The gross enrollment ratio is somewhere around 23%. Some people say 22, some say 23, some say 23.6, but around 23%. It has gone up in last about 5 to 7 years from as low as 12 to 13%. And the target is that it needs to reach about 28, which is the international average. And to reach there, we require to double the number of universities we have, which means around 14 to 1500 universities we require. That is 176. The second, we look at in last 5 to 6 years, about 1500 colleges have closed down because they did not get admissions. And they mainly come into the category of management and engineering colleges. The number of students going abroad, particularly towards the West and now of course China and some of the Asian countries, has been increasing year after year. The number of students taking JEE and some of the renowned entrance tests in India has been going down. And the number of seats in the existing colleges have been vacant in large numbers. It runs into lakhs if you look at 2015. So on one hand, we need more universities and colleges. On the other hand, we do not get admissions in the existing institutions. There's an overcapacity sort of, as far as indications are concerned. It's a confusing and contradicting situation. And the only answer we get is that the students just do not get what they should be getting. Why it has been happening? I have a little experience of looking at diverse kind of institutions. This is the fifth university for me as Vice Chancellor. Out of 3 I have set up right from the initial stages, from the beginning, and 2 I have taken over as second Vice Chancellor, like the one which I have taken over recently. And both types have had their own challenges. The new universities are easy to set in case you want to set right kind of systems, and they can take a quantum leap and be at par with the not only contemporaries but also many of the existing universities. The problem comes in when you take over an existing university. They have been set up keeping in mind some of the systems which have been very traditional and no more applicable in terms of imparting quality education. The challenges are different. So my experience of these 5 universities, and before that of course some of the independent management institutes, tells me what I'm going to talk to you. My first understanding is that the concept of affiliated colleges is unique to India. I don't know many countries who have concept of affiliated colleges. If you look at all the top ranking institutions in the world, management, engineering, for that matter, design, fashion, any other discipline, often they are not stand-alone institutions. They are university departments. So there is something wrong in the model we have adopted as a country. The second thing, which is perhaps consequence of the reason I just mentioned, we teach a discipline in isolation. If we teach engineering, we don't allow them to look at here and there. I think this is one thing which the globalization in the last 15 to 20 years has clearly done to us. Whether we have had collaborations, legal or illegal, permitted or not permitted, approved or not approved, valid in India or not valid, approved by EIU or not approved, doesn't matter. The working together with the foreign institutions by various university institutions in this country has brought a paradigm shift. And this paradigm shift has been in terms of interdisciplinarity coming in education. Today, engineering students or even the professors are more open to teach their students courses from humanities, courses from other disciplines like law, management, and many others. First time, as far as I am concerned, my experience of interdisciplinarity was sown into me by a young girl who came to take admission in my one of the universities. She wanted admission in BA Honours Psychology, and she happened to be the granddaughter of former Prime Minister Bihari Vajpayee. She comes to me and said, "Sir, I want in BA Honours Psychology, even though I have got admission in DU." I was puzzled. I said, leaving DU, why you want to come here? And she gave me one reason only, and she said, along with psychology, I want to study the course in biology and anthropology, which Delhi University will not let me study, but your university will let me study. And first time I was amazed at how youngsters are thinking, because real life is not single discipline. human beings are not single discipline. Why education should be single discipline? The second thing which has happened because of this coming together of institutions from across the globe in whatever working, I would say, arrangement, it has challenged the evaluation system we have had in this country. I'll share some experience with you. In my university, we started interdisciplinary projects wherein students of different disciplines work on a common topic. And the students will come from diverse fields like engineering, design, architecture, hospitality management, and so on, and law, of course. First semester students